And now we present to you America's quintessential iconoclastic anomaly. Wow. In talk radio, your host, Joe Cristiano.
Yes, and welcome to the University of Logic, better known as Cristiano's Conservatory, correcting convoluted conversations. And do you know that I thought at one time that the only way you can fry your mind is by taking these, I guess, illicit or illegal drugs. Smack, all this stuff.
Well, yeah, LSD.
Right, LSD, methamphetamines, crack cocaine. But this week, I discovered a new way to fry your mind.
Tell.
Yeah, I found a new way. You know, listening to the politicians on television is enough to fry every brain cell that you have in your cranium.
True.
They are unbelievable. If you have a brain cell working and you listen to these clowns, it just hurts. You can't take it. It's like you fried your brain. And it should be what they say should be as illegal as methamphetamine.
That's true. That's a great point.
It is that bad. And if you listen to the underlying message on everything that they say, there's always an underlying message, and that underlying message is there to prove something.
And an agenda.
That's right. They have that agenda, and it always sounds so good.
Oh, yeah.
It sounds complimentary, it sounds positive, and we're making progress, and you're sitting there, and you're seething, and all you want is a microphone because you want to scream back. I guess that's why I have this program.
Yeah, it's your time to scream back,
Yeah,
Joe.
this is my time to scream back. No, it's right. But really, anyone wants to call 855-866-1170. Call us, Liberty Talk Radio on 1170 KFAQ. 855-866-1170. I want to hear from you anytime. You won't be interrupting me. Now, this is the one that tipped the scales for me today. Now, this week. The president was talking about deep water ports and what needs to be done to keep us competitive and also to allow the new, I guess, larger ships and whatever to deliver goods to our shores. And everyone hailed him as being someone with foresight and with courage to take on such a project, and we should all thank him. And we left with this, am I glad we have him as president? Without him, of course, the ships would just be bobbling in the water, not knowing where to go.
Running up against sandbars to the sirens to the shore.
Hitting each other, not knowing. If you asked the captain and you asked him, are you in the Pacific Ocean, the Atlantic Ocean, or the Gulf? Hell, I don't know. Let me call the president. I mean, but you have to understand, this is the message. This is the message that he's giving. Now, he's talking about all the things, well, in generalities, all the things he needs, or we need to do. Not him. He doesn't do a damn thing. We need to do. In other words, I have to pay for in order to improve whatever it is we can improve. I'm not really sure what we're improving, by the way. That's another thing fried my mind. but just consider the logic here. We have, I'm sure, thousands of people who are professional in maritime, in trade, in international commerce. Thousands of people in this country. That's their life. This is what they do.
It's their business, yeah.
Their business. People who work at ports, the corps of engineers that do some of this work as well, knowing how deep the water, what the depth of each port is. So, of course, the wrong ship doesn't go in. All this stuff. And he makes it seem that none of these people even exist. You see, when you listen to him, it's that no one exists, but I'm here just to alert the world that we need to do something about our maritime activity. And this is what we need to do. And everyone walks around and says, oh, my God, you know what? Without him, where would we be? That's the message. Where would we be without him?
You know, he should stay in his own area of constitutional law that he taught for 10 years.
Yeah, that he
so
failed, by the way.
Well,
yeah.
no, he was so good at that.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, folks, in our studio today, we have a few people. We have my agent, Gary, and he has his grandson, Lance, is visiting with us today. we have our new, I guess, research assistant, right? Another Gary number 2, and his wife Jessica is here with us today, and of course my lovely wife Erin that keeps me on the straight and narrow. Okay, I just want you to know, and of course on the board is Jim Jeffries.
Oh yeah. Hi, Joe.
Yeah, the Mr. Radio himself.
I don't know about that.
But really, I want you to understand that it is not so much specifically engineering-wise what he is proposing, but what he is implanting in our minds is that you cannot function without me. We have no maritime without me. We will be uncompetitive in the international marketplace without me. And then we applaud that. People should have been standing up insulted. Are you telling me that all of the people we've hired, some of which are high-paid jobs, PhDs, engineers in maritime in maritime activities, all these people don't know that the water has to be X number of feet deep for a ship to come in, and they don't know these ships are being built? I mean, just think of it. Now, he knows and we know. I mean, no, we don't know. That's the problem. We don't know. We don't think as a nation.
We're not supposed to.
Yeah, we just sit there and we accept it.
Nod our heads.
Yeah, here we go. Oh wow, good thing.
What a great president!
Gosh,
what a great president!
I didn't vote for him last time. I'm voting for him now because without him, we would have no products would come in, and it's the mind changing. It's the mind numbing. Don't go any further. Don't think any further. We don't want you to even consider. After I finish speaking, we do not want you to think about this subject.
Now, see, I would have thought, when did he give that speech? Because I thought you were going to tear him apart on the NSA press conference. But did you see that speech on C-SPAN or something? Where did you see that?
No, I don't remember. I very rarely watch television,
So
and I saw it somewhere. I saw it somewhere,
Wow.
I just don't remember.
That's great.
But it just angered me that he took this position. Instead, what he should have said is that new ships are being built, and we are proud of the people in the field, whomever they may be. And I haven't the foggiest idea who determines how deep the dredging should be and deep water and all this other stuff. But at least compliment the people who are responsible and being paid to do this, and not take all the glory for yourself.
I think he's grasping for straws to take credit for anything right now.
I think this guy is absolutely
You mean, Joe,
desperate.
he didn't say, I've been informed by our whoever is the mucky muck of the ports of Miami
Hell no!
or ports of...
Hell no!
You're kidding me.
That destroys the line of thinking. I mean, he knows what he's doing.
He's the source.
Yeah, that's
He's
right.
the thinking source.
That's right.
He's the source
one,
of everything.
That's right. Yeah, he's the savior. And but we don't think. We say, well, Joe, why are you all upset about the speech? Big deal. He was just talking about deep water ports. Now I used to be in international marine sales, so I know something about this. There are buku people involved in each deep water. I used to be involved in international marine sales, bunkering those ships. And I had to have specifications of each port, and when there was changes, I would get cables usually through London.
Who is the
Back in the old days.
Who's the organization in our government that oversees that?
I don't know.
Oh,
I honestly
you don't
know.
remember because you evidently had to work with them.
Well, no, I didn't work with the government. I never worked with the government. I just worked with the shipping lines. Shipping lines, yeah, and the other countries.
Coast Guard would have something to do with that.
That's right.
Oh yeah.
Coast Guard has something to do with. There's tons of organizations.
Navy has something to do with it, I'm sure.
But those are the side people. Those are not the business people. But what we have to recognize is that international commerce is a business. It is not a
The
government-run
Port Authority
entity.
has to do with it in New York. They have a port authority.
That's right. They have a port authority, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I just thought it was insulting, absolutely insulting to think that, geez, if I don't take this position, by the way, all that stuff that we get from China that we buy, is not going to get here.
Well, and his falling poll ratings, I'm sure what we're finding is that he's trying, like I said, he's trying to take credit for everything.
Yeah. He's grasping for straws, as
Yeah.
you said.
But
He
you know,
really
he's not
is.
the only one. There are
No,
so many
sure
of those
not.
Yeah.
clowns in Washington that act that way. It's amazing.
Well, he taught me something great. He taught me that Tallahassee is apparently in the Gulf of Mexico. See, I thought it was in the Atlantic Ocean, but apparently Tallahassee, Florida is near the Gulf of Mexico.
Well, you are
according to the
obviously
president.
misinformed.
Yeah, I guess
you are
so. I
obviously
guess so.
misinformed.
Yeah.
You know,
Actually, it's north of there about 50 miles.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Of the
Well,
Gulf
Central
of Mexico.
Florida,
It ain't even
almost.
sure. It ain't even close to the Gulf of Mexico.
No, nowhere near shore.
you know, what bothers me is that this guy, when he ran for office, talked about cooperation, right, and collaboration, and compromise is a bad word. That's a bad thing to do anyway. But compromise, and yet, when he's in, no one counts. It's only him. Everybody else is incidental, and he will make the decisions. And if he doesn't make the decisions, nothing gets done. That is the message.
Well, nothing's going to get done because he takes way too many vacations. I mean,
Oh my gosh, yes.
You know? Anyway, this bothered me all week, so that's why I wanted to blast on it.
You know what? I have to tell you, when I listen to your show on Saturday and Sundays, I think about your show all week.
You do?
Yeah, things that you said, and of course, you know, our listeners can go to 1170kfaq.com and listen to the podcast of the show. But your show is great. You really do induce thought.
Oh boy, that's dangerous.
Well, I know, but thinking about the things you talk about, that's
No, really, that's
I'll have to look up that speech now.
Yeah. You know, you don't have to think much if you're a neocon and you're blasting a progressive. There's
Right.
no thought there. Absolutely none. That's why I stay away from that garbage. Now, another thing is that that just grabs me as the speech that Rand Paul gave to the Senate regarding bills being presented to him 6 hours before voting. And
Oh,
the
yeah, we
bills
talked
are
about
that.
hundreds of pages long. Now, what I did is I went online to read one of the bills. Incomprehensible.
I'm sure.
I know. I'm telling you, I didn't understand any. Now, if you took the title off, if even the title is misleading, but if you just start from the top and read the first two, which should be a summary, an executive summary, so to speak, to tell you what the bill is about. You read that, you have no idea what they're talking about.
is it a summary?
Absolutely none.
Is it a summary?
No, nothing's a summary.
Oh, you're kidding.
It's a gobbledygook. It's gobbledygook. And as they get through, they reference other
Legislation.
you know, and they use weasel words all through the whole thing. I read 2 pages, and if you asked me about what it was about, I had no idea. Now, this is what's presented to guys in Congress who I don't think are any smarter than I am. Now, I'm not smart. I admit I'm not smart.
they're just
but I'm
regular
not
Joes
dumber than
just
these
like you.
guys, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
These guys are shrewder than I am, you know? You know, they don't give a damn. I do. But these guys read, and they do this in 6 hours and comprehend it and then can make an intelligent vote.
That's amazing. Wow.
But this is what happens all the time.
Oh, I know.
And the thing is that I think there's a law that says, a ruling that says they have to give them 24 hours. All right, let's take a break now. I need a cup of coffee. You know, my father would always tell me, never sign anything. Never, unless you have an attorney look at it and people who know what it says, can vouch that it's exactly what you want, don't sign anything. And more people have gotten themselves in such really lifelong trouble.
Sure.
And
Sure they
you know,
have. Yeah.
lifelong trouble by signing something that was a relatively simple document. But yet, our Congress continually signs on to legislation that they have no concept of what is included in that legislation. No
Amen.
concept. Not
Amen.
They say, well, I think it had something to do with this. You know, they think. They don't even know.
Yeah.
And yet and the reason why they do that is simple. You see, it's not their money. It's our money.
They're being told.
Yeah. Now, if someone sign a contract for Gary, and you know, I said, sure, where is it? I'll sign it, no problem, right? You know, if I'm not liable and he is, what do I care?
Exactly. Yeah,
you know,
let Gary take the
why should I waste even 2 seconds on it? You know, I want to go for coffee over at my coffee shop. I don't want to take my time out. You know, let him suffer with it, and that's exactly what they do.
That's a great scenario for the American citizen.
Yeah, and
great
then
scenario.
when you get the people who who are in, I mean, the people who voted for those people in office, they justify, well, we needed that bill signed. And if you ask them, what does the bill say? Well, it's going to provide, they don't know. They'll tell you generally what it says. Oh, it's going to provide extra food for the hungry.
Well, it's going to opt us out of Obamacare.
Yeah, I mean,
they'll know that.
Yeah, I mean, it's absolutely, there's absolutely, they have no, and they're not even sure if it says that. But it sounds good. It makes them feel good. They voted for the right person who's doing the right thing for the country, and they've been brainwashed. And this now, what bothers me, these guys are attorneys for the most part. A majority of those people in Congress and the Senate are attorneys.
Oh, sure.
And here they are signing on to a contract that they have no idea what it says. And if they were given a month, and a month, even the small one, like this last one was only 600 pages long, a month you would never, ever get through it because it refers constantly, as provided for in, congressional, whatever, and they give you a bunch of numbers and letters. A month would not be sufficient.
Well, somebody knows what's in those words because they had to write it, but obviously there's an agenda.
Oh, yeah, it's all an agenda. And they sign it, and then when they get in front of TV, well, I believe this will be good for the American people, and I'm disappointed that the Republicans or the Democrats, whoever it is, didn't sign on because I think it's holding us back. And yet, you ask them, what? But the thing is, the news media is at fault also because the news media think when they interview, they say, hey, Senator, or hey, Congressman, by the way, did you read the entire contract? Did you read the entire bill?
Well,
Yeah.
no.
Well, no, I have staff. Who in your staff read the entire bill? We would like to speak to that person to
Exactly.
hear what their Now, that's what the press should do. But as Gerald Celente calls them, prostitutes, and they are all prostitutes. Every damn one of them, right?
Yeah.
And instead of saying that, they say, oh, thank you very much, Senator. And it's sort of like, oh, it makes me feel so much better now. I feel relieved that he signed it. He knows what's going on. And it's all a phony. It's a mystery. It has nothing to do, no semblance of reality whatsoever.
Did you notice now, though, that they did exempt themselves from Obamacare? The senators and congressmen. They're not going to be in Obamacare. They got their own deal, and now they're exempt.
Well, I mean, why would you?
Well, they read the bill. They read the bill. It
Why
took
would you
them 6
include
months
yourself in
or a
that?
year. They passed the bill last year. They've had enough time to find that, oh, crap, we're in this too, and they got out of it.
I'll tell you one thing. They didn't. I'll bet you big money they didn't read the bill.
I read that part.
No, people said, do you realize what that bill A, B, and C? They went, no, I didn't know that. Bingo. That's all that happened. They didn't spend their time to read the bill. I want to bet money on that.
Why aren't we really, really upset? Why aren't we calling our congressman saying, you dirty dog, why are you opting out?
But why, why call you, that I think is ridiculous. It's like me calling organized crime and saying, you guys are really bad. Why don't you be
Well,
good?
what do we do?
And the guy says, hey, thanks for
you're
calling,
right, Joe.
I appreciate it. I'll stop.
What can people do, Joe?
I was gonna kill Guido yesterday. I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna take him out for coffee.
What do we
Are
do
you
then?
kidding me?
What do we do
What are
then?
you kidding me? Why call the person who's perpetrating the crime and tell him to fix it? That makes no sense at all.
Well, I'm just saying, that's what do you do?
You want to know what you do?
Yeah,
Very
what do I
simple.
want you to tell me?
Folks, I'm going to give you the answer.
Okay.
All right.
Wait,
Turn up the
everybody
volume.
had a drum
Turn
roll
up the
sound
volume.
effect. Oh, boy.
Yeah,
Do you have one?
I don't have one.
You don't have. All right.
I got the awesome.
All right. Don't vote.
Oh.
Don't vote. Now, we can't take to the streets, let's be honest, with sticks and stones and whatever. But what we can do is we can refuse to vote. Now, just think, there's an election, right? And let's say 180 million people are eligible to vote, right? And one person wins 3,000 votes to 2,000 or something like that.
It's almost that bad now.
Yeah, but I'm just thinking, they can't say, well, so-and-so won by a large margin, by 1,000 votes. In other words, we can, in fact, but we have to, what we do is don't vote. And people who say, well, I have to vote because it's my obligation
My
to vote.
civic duty.
Yes, my civic. No, your civic duty is to dissent. Read the Constitution. Read the Declaration of Independence. It says when the government becomes abusive, it is your obligation to dissent and to remove those people from office, to instill back once again a constitutional government. It says it right there, plain English, and it doesn't refer to Article 14, 396, G1, E5, paragraph 4. It's very simple. Very, very simple. And yet we don't take that. So we have these clowns, and the Republicans, they talk about Senator so-and-so is really so-and-so, really, he's far side. And ask that clown senator, whatever his name is, ask him, have you ever read one bill that you signed off on? And the answer would always be, I'll put money on it, heavy money, no. Oh, he has a staff, and you think his staff has read all 1,000 pages? Never happened.
I bet he'll say, yes, I did, and just lie to you like he does about everything
Well,
else.
sure.
Good, yeah. But if he did, you say, fine, then give him a test. You say,
But they are the ticket.
no, really,
they
you
should.
give him a test. You say,
Give 'em a test on their bills.
on page 1034, section 34E, paragraph 2, it says, see what he says.
Yeah,
Multiple
why aren't they
choice.
asking them questions like this?
No, they don't. That's the problem. That's the problem, is that we do not have a press.
The press is a big part of being a free society, and we've completely nullified it.
Vietnam, we had a press in Vietnam, right? They were there. They were taking pictures. It got really, really ugly.
No, it sure
In
did.
fact, the people were down on you remember the soldiers came back, and we were down. The soldiers, they were poor guys. They were the pawns in the thing, and we crapped all over the soldiers coming back. I thought that was terrible.
That's terrible.
And yet this is what happened. But now what happens? All of the wars are antiseptic. And the antiseptic, we make sure every war is a minimum of 7,000 miles away.
Yeah.
Every single one. There's nothing close to home. And God forbid something happens close to home, 1,000 miles or 500 miles, we go berserk like the world is coming to an end. This is not good. This is not good. All right, enough of the Congress, and Congress is not reading the
They're
bills.
as bad as the president.
Yeah, and their attorneys. Could you imagine going to an attorney saying, "I have this contract here. It's 1,142 pages. Should I read it?" Attorney, no, don't
Just
read
sign
it.
the
Forget it.
thing.
Yeah, just sign the thing. Let's go for coffee. All right, enough of that. All right,
gosh.
I want to hear your
Sir.
take on it. 855-866-1170. 855-866-1170. I know you're out there. I know you have a phone.
You're mad.
Don't let me come after you.
Yeah.
All right, come here. I want you to call.
You don't
Okay.
want Joe to call the mafia.
I heard again, this in this debate of healthcare. Healthcare is a human right. I think there's another reason. My mind goes crazy. Healthcare is a basic human right. Well, all right. I said, fine. Who's going to provide it? If it's a basic human right, then provide it for yourself. That's it. Become a doctor and operate on yourself. No one's stopping you. I mean, why in the world? How can you say, oh, Bob, you're going to go to school, you're going to go to medical school, then you're going to go, interns, you're going to have these 16 years working day and night, and when you intern, you'll be working, 15-hour days, no sleep at all, 7 days a week. You're going to do that for 2 or 3 years, blah, 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 blah. And after that, you come out, and we're not going to pay you because, you see, health care is a basic human right, and you have to provide it free. Mm-hmm. Now, how many doctors are you going to get? I mean, it's a stupid. Now, the thing is that the access to health care, should be available to everyone. But the thing is, they're not talking about that. They're saying the actual act of providing health care is a basic human right. That's not true. It would be nice if that's the case, what's on a higher order than health care?
Well,
food. Food is a basic human right? Sure. Well, does that mean a farmer has to go out there and farm and give you the food for free? No. Someone has to be paid for the services they provide.
Human rights are something that you have inalienable. I can't say the word.
Inalienable.
Yeah, inalienable. These are God-given rights. They're God-given rights. They're not given by the government.
Yeah.
They want everything from the government.
We'll stop on that point. We're going for a hard break, folks. Don't go away. this healthcare issue became a mess starting during World War II. The government, of course, the government gets their hands in something, it screws everything up. Well, they would not allow any of the manufacturers to raise any the salaries because they were afraid that people would jump all over the place and all the jeeps and tanks wouldn't be made, and and prices the salaries would go up and all this other stuff. And so they said, all right, we're going to put a freeze on it. We can't do that anymore. So in order to attract somebody, since they couldn't increase the amount of the pay, they started offering health care. They said, hey, you can come here and get paid. Yeah, you're going to get paid, whatever it is, $200 a week or whatever, $100 a week. But we give free health care. And that started it off. Before that, we didn't have that. You see, and when they did that, some companies provided 100% coverage on health care. In other words, they made health care an entitlement in order to attract qualified people,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So they made it, instead of health care being something that's you need to have for yourself and to have insurance on it, like you have insurance on your car, they made it an entitlement. Now, the difference between an entitlement and having insurance coverage, entitlement means everything's free. You go to the doctor, everything's free, and you don't directly pay for it. Everyone else pays for you going to the doctor. Insurance coverage means that you pick exactly the type of insurance that you want. For example, no insurance, and there's no insurance carrier that covers everything. And right now, the way we are with Medicare, Medicaid, they cover everything. But if you want to go for a checkup, that's not covered. It's like your car insurance. If you want to change the oil in your car, you don't submit a bill to your insurance company, right? If you tune up your car, you don't send out a bill to your insurance company, right? If you need new tires, and on small accidents, you don't, you scratch your car somewhere, parking, you don't send a bill to your insurance company. Only when you get into an accident with another car and there's liability involved, then they get involved.
Catastrophic.
Right. Can you imagine what the cost of car insurance would be if it covered everything as an entitlement, similar to our healthcare system? I mean, you wouldn't be paying,
ripping the,
$300 a month or so, whatever it is.
Ripping the upholstery,
Yeah,
you get money for it.
You would be paying. Yeah, I mean, if you had to pay your own, you'd be paying $3,000-$4,000 a month.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what's happened to the healthcare industry, is that everything's an entitlement. No one really has coverage anymore. You're entitled to it. And even if you have insurance, the insurance matches the entitlement. It's all screwed up.
Well, every time there's a third-party payer, too, it always makes the price go up.
Yeah, well, you can have that just like, and you can be competitive. If we only reverted the healthcare system back to the private enterprise system, the cost would go down, and people, I'm not kidding, would go down 80%. Not a couple of percent, 80% of the cost would go down. And then everyone could afford to have insurance. And those people who can't afford to have decent insurance, they have what they call catastrophic insurance. In case you have cancer or something like that, they'll cover those things. And by the way, those are available now. And they're relatively inexpensive. When I had a job once that I absolutely detested. I hated it. Oh, my God. I recall driving into the parking lot. Oh, we got a caller, don't we? All right, I'll take the caller. Stay on the line. I'll be with you in a second. And I would park my car, walk to the building, walk back to my car, drive away, just start driving out to the country, realized that I was going to get fired if I didn't go back, used to come back, and I used to do this several times a week, a month, rather. Because I just hated why didn't I quit? Because my son was ill, and I had excellent health coverage. I wanted to be responsible to my family first. I couldn't take the risk of doing something else, gambling everything, and not being able to take care of my family. And that's what people should do. Let's take a call. Caller, you're on the air. Kathy?
Hi, Joe. How are you this evening?
Hi, Kathy from Sand Springs. How are you doing? Okay.
Yes, I'm doing great, thanks. I'd like to make a small correction when you were talking about Medicare paid for everything.
Yeah.
No, it only pays 80%.
Oh, no, you're right. I admit, yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, I had to get a supplemental to
Yeah.
cover the rest.
That's right. You are
That's
absolutely
expensive.
correct. Okay. Well, I want people to call in and correct me, but still the principle's the same. It covers everything, but not 100%. You know what I mean? That type of thing. And we have to get out of that mentality of saying, if my car needs an oil change, I bought the car, I need to pay for the oil change. As a responsible person, I need to go to the doctor for my checkup. That I pay for. That's my oil change, if you will.
Right.
But and that's the problem. And
Well, everybody got to the point where they had to have the second party pay for everything for them. For example, when I was a little boy, my dad had good insurance through a company, and it was a $100 deductible. Well, people love that $100 deductible, but back then that was like $1,000.
Right.
So, I mean, when I went to work years later and got insurance from my company, my deductible was $100. And I've got a friend that's 60 years old. He showed me the bill when he was born. It was $68. I mean,
$68.
yeah, $68 when he was born.
Yeah. You
So
couldn't
it's
go to the
ridiculous.
cafeteria for $68.
Right. So, the
Oh, God,
deductibles,
I only cost $24.
Okay,
but
Kathy.
the deductible ought to be much bigger. It ought to be much bigger.
Do you have any other comments you want to make, Kathy?
No, that's it. It was a pleasure speaking to you.
All right. Hey, Kathy, thank you
Does
for
she have a
calling in.
t-shirt,
and correcting.
Joe?
Do you have a T-shirt, Kathy? You have a Liberty Talk Radio T-shirt?
No, I don't.
Well, shame on you. If you will send me an email to comments at Liberty
Don't
Talk
have
Radio.
email right now. I'm paying for my secondary Medicare.
Okay, all right. I'm gonna hand you over to Big Jim, and he'll get the information. I'll send a T-shirt to you. Okay.
Oh, Joe,
Yeah.
thanks for
All right,
Stay on the line, Kathy, okay?
Okay.
Okay.
All
There you
right.
go. Okay, you can take. Okay, great.
Good point.
But and yeah, she correct me, and she's absolutely correct. But you understand the logic is all the same. If we only sat down and looked at realized what government health care does. People talk about the best health care in the world. I think it was Sweden, and they did some surveys in Sweden recently. And they found that your primary care, if you have any problem, you can go to your primary care, almost immediately see someone. However, if you need to see a specialist, then you wait months. In other words, there's a good chance you are going to die. No, seriously. And now, yeah. And you know what? And everyone talks about Canadian health care.
Yeah.
I went to Quebec on a business trip. My wife and I did. And the first thing I did when I got to the hotel, we went to one of the old hotels in downtown. And as soon as we got to the room, we got there 6 o'clock. I said, I'm going to turn on the 6 o'clock news to see what the headline is and whatever. And guess what it was? Canada was broke. They were trying to find a way to privatize health care. And you never, my teeth fell out. I don't have false teeth and they fell out. I mean, it shocked me that here we are. I'm watching Canadian television. They're talking about the hellacious problem they have with their healthcare system, and then they need to, privatize it, or else the whole thing is going to create.
But then when you come home, you hear the news, they got the best in the
It
world.
says the world, and we should copy them and all the other stuff. And we should really be alert to this. Folks, you need to read good stuff. People ask me, in fact, let me tell you, my wife is mad that I said this, but twice last week, I go to a lot of meetings and stuff, and I give speeches. Twice, I heard two people, separate occasions, indicate how smart I was. And I want to correct this. I'm not smart. Believe me, I know smart people. I'm not smart. What I do is I read a lot, and I read the right stuff. I read stuff from the Future Freedom Foundation, the Cato Institute, the American Institute of Economic Research, the Foundation for Economic Education, and I can go on and on and on. This is the stuff that I read. This is not partisan stuff about Republican, Democrat. These are all scholars, people, experts in their field, and they discuss these issues every single week. This is what I read. And after a while, you realize they have something there. But when we watch television, we don't hear any of that. because most of what they say is, hey guys, we're going down the wrong road. Government doesn't like that. Government owns the TV stations. They're not going to allow you to listen to that stuff, because then you may wake up and then they have a problem. They need a very compliant populace. If you're compliant, you'll do what you say, and that's the end of that. And that's the danger of where we are right now. Oh, by the way, you know what I want to talk about now that I beat healthcare to death is it really grabbed me that Obama canceled his meeting with Putin. You know.
Oh yeah, did you hear what he said about him in the press conference too?
No, I didn't.
It said that he says, you know, one of the press asked him about their relationship, and he says, well, you know, he acts like kind of a pouty school kid with his slouchy shoulders. Do you remember that?
Oh my God!
Yeah.
No,
Well, that's real protocol, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, you know what
Presidential.
What really bothers me is that this guy ran on a platform of conciliation, right? Of cooperation, of compromise, of transparency, discussing things. You know, opening dialogue, not slamming the door on people. All this stuff, and I cannot imagine. First of all, we have no extradition treaty with Russia. We don't have one. We have, in fact, there are several countries we don't have it with, and some that comes to mind: Namibia, China, North Korea, and there's a few others. I don't remember all of them. We do not have these treaties.
Probably
with.
Iran.
Now, and Iran. Now, North Korea. I mentioned North Korea, and that means that you have an agreement that should someone seek asylum, regardless of the reason, you can hand them back, and they have all sorts of conditions, and each one is a little bit different. Okay. So we have none with Russia, but yes, we are demanding Russia return Snowden to us. We have no right to ask. In fact, it should. This should be the exact reverse. This should be Russia asking us to return someone who is seeking asylum in the United States. We shouldn't be looking, and where they change the dialogue again is, look how bad Russia is. The guy won't come back. We should be saying, look, someone who was a whistleblower and he committed no crime. In fact, he obeyed the law. And he obeyed the regulations of his department, because the government now says that if you see something wrong, you have the right and you have the obligation to say something. You're a whistleblower, and we have whistleblower legislation that protects you. So when people do that, all of a sudden the government wants to, in other words, you are always wrong. And then again, the focus is, instead of the focus being on, hey, we had a whistleblower, he tried to protect us, and he's seeking asylum in Russia, because the only place that'll take him, because all the other countries, not that they think he's wrong, they're afraid. Yeah. They're afraid of what the repercussions would be, because the United States ain't a real nice guy. We got big planes and big bombs and big tanks and big everything and soldiers and everything.
They stood up to the bully.
Yeah. No one wants to take that gamble. And of course, those countries also get aid from the United States. They're afraid of losing the aid, so they say, hey, sorry, not this place. Not on my backyard. So Russia's the only one that is not concerned about this. Russia takes it. The United States, the people in the United States should be applauding Putin and the Russian people. And it sounds crazy. I mean, I grew up always saying Russia's bad, the United States is good, Russia's bad. And here I am, I'm doing a 180. And we should be ashamed of that. We should be absolutely ashamed of the fact that, we're now rooting for Russia, for the Russians, to protect our people under our laws that said that this guy will not get arrested if he blows the whistle. I mean, he has to be treated as he's protected as a regular. Now, he may lose his job. They may put him in another job, and that they have the right to do at any time. But that's about the only thing they have the right to do. But they want to take him back and put him in solitary confinement. And we should know better than that. And we're not doing it. That really bothers me. We're not doing it.
I just think it's awful that we're going to a communist country to look. He's going to a communist country to look for freedom. And we're supposed to be the land of the free.
That's right. It's amazing, and people should wake up to that fact. You know, there are only 10 people in American history that have been charged with espionage for leaking classified information. And by the way, he did not leak. He did not do this, right? 7 of the 10 were under Obama. 7. This is U.S. history. U.S. history. 7 out of 10 is under Obama, right? And let me ask you, what happened, Mr. Obama, with your transparency in government? What happened to that transparency? It's gone. There is no transparency. There is only fear of reprisal. Let's take a break. Don't go away. You know, what's happened here in the United States is that we were a nation where you were innocent until proven guilty. Very simple. Innocent until proven guilty. Now, with all of this espionage that we have against our own people and the surveillance, basically what they're saying, you are guilty until proven innocent. In other words, we will watch you. This is exactly what the Nazis did. We will watch you 24 hours a day. And if you say something out of turn, you are guilty. We take you away. And that's exactly what we're doing. Yeah. We have somebody online. Could we pick it up?
Lloyd from Henrietta. Lloyd, go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah, Joe.
Hi, Lloyd. How you doing?
All right. I appreciate the way you turned that argument around there about Ed Snowden, because the media, you know, they select the way that you're supposed to approach the subject, which is that Russia should give him back, but you turned it around to where you should think of Russia asking for all the people that have come from Russia to here seeking asylum.
Good point. Excellent. Yeah.
You're the one to be praised on that, turning it around like that. That's the way I try to think about things, is flip the thing around backwards or upside down and sideways. And I had a couple more little things here to say. You were talking about your brain being fried watching the politicians on TV.
Right.
Well, for anybody out there, there's a new video just came out here about 3 weeks ago, and it's called State of Mind, and you can watch it on YouTube.
Okay, I'm writing that down. State of Mind. Okay.
State of Mind, the Psychology of Control.
Wow, that sounds... Wow.
I actually got the DVD just yesterday, and I've watched it, and it was everything that I hoped it would be. But it tells you about how the whole television and the media changes your minds and everything.
Right.
But also, now here's another subject that you touched on, and that was the representatives not reading the bills. They don't have to. Because all they have to do is do what basically the leadership pretty much tells them, and then when the NSA rep drops that envelope on the representative's desk, it contains the 8x10 glossy photographs and a little DVD with the audio tapes and all of this, you know, of all of their things. They're all blackmailed up there.
Oh yeah, they all have something on it because they're all guilty.
I mean,
it's easy.
You basically don't get into those higher positions unless they've got something on you. And the lower level guys that have just been voted in, a lot of them may still be clean. But the people that get put into the different committee assignments, you know, they are, especially the leadership in different committees, they've got something on them or they wouldn't be there.
That's right. And those that don't play ball where they have not enough on them to steer them in the right way, they never go. Their bills never go to committee, and after a couple of years, they quit and they go, "Listen, I can't get anything done. No one will even talk to me." And that's why a lot of freshmen turn over. You know, they come in, they leave. They come in, they leave. But the people who've been there for 34 years and they stay there, and the reason they stay there is because their work is not yet done. You know, the work is not finished yet, and it's a big game, and we eat it and buy it every single time, Lloyd. It's just terrible, you know. But just tell me how good I am again. You know, I don't hear that.
No, I love the way you because I hadn't thought of that. I mean, I was thinking about the Ed Snowden thing, but you turned it around perfect. You know, just turn it around.
Yeah, it was a beautiful job. Beautiful thing.
Well, you know, it's a shame
Makes
that
sense.
the past few incidences, I have been voting for the other country. I've never done that before. I'm not saying that because I'm anti-American or anything like that. But if you look at it, you can't give us right. I mean, if you wanted to be honest with yourself. Now, if you want to be dishonest with yourself and you don't want to think, say, no, I don't want to think, well, we're good and they're bad, and, you know, because people do that. But if you want to be honest with it, you can't give it right. And I said, my goodness, every time something happens, I'm always rooting for the other country now. This is amazing. Never happened to me before. Never happened before.
I get kind of accused of that, but it's simply because and I'm not anti-American. It's just I try to judge all people the same way, all countries the same way. And I think, well, what if this situation were reversed? And
Right.
you reverse the situation, you can't help but look almost anti-American in a lot of cases because you're judging fairly and not judging from a partial standpoint.
So Lloyd, you wouldn't want somebody kicking your door down, right?
No, I wouldn't want them kicking my door. I wouldn't want them sending a cruise missile into my window here. You know?
Okay. All right. Hey, Lloyd, thank you for calling. We have to go. We're about running out of time. I really appreciate you calling in. I appreciate your listenership. Okay, Guy? We love you, man. Okay. Take care. Wow, this has been some program. I think we're about out of time. Folks, thank you very much for listening to Liberty Talk Radio. We certainly appreciate it. If you have any comments about this, any of the subjects that we discussed, and anyone that you want to bring up, please send me your email to comments@libertytalkradio.com. Remember, we have to be dissidents in action, revolutionaries in thought if we're going to turn this place around, right? You have to be. We have to all have to act free. Thank you for calling and listening into Liberty Talk Radio.